Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Anthem. Quick thing, I am dearly sorry about the last video. It was steeped in confusion because usually when I'm enjoying a game this much, I tend to be recording it at the same time. Because when you make videos and you record things, you want to try to have the best time always, because it makes for a better video, I think. So I basically thought I recorded all the things that I experienced, which was not the case. So this is going to be kind of our reset slash let me explain the glory that is this game. I'm being a bit excessive, but still. Also, Mug of the Sitting, we're still never letting this tradition die. Now, okay, so one of the things I've been hearing about Anthem, everyone's thoughts and discussions of Anthem in general have come out at this point. And one of the things I keep hearing is people say that the story is just kind of okay. It's just kind of okay. I disagree in every conceivable way. But then again, I will always contest to I've always found myself being the person that enjoys not the most complex things. You know what I mean? Like, I oftentimes see the Oscar list for movies, and I watch one of them, and I'm like, what the fuck is this boring, I know what it's trying to do. I can perfectly understand what it's trying to do, but it doesn't mean that it's good because it does those things. You know what I mean? And then people shit on other shows that I actually really enjoy, or not shows, movies that I really enjoy because they're simplistic or anything like that. And to me, one of the things that I've always loved so much about storytelling is characters. One of my favorite shows is actually called, well, my two favorite shows are both anime, because I'm a loser weeb. Anyways, they're Blood Blockade Battlefront and Assassination Classroom. Both of these shows handle character development immensely well. Like characters. I'm not sure character development, but yes, but characters. They introduce you to characters, sell you on them, and just make you want more. Or at least to me, that's always been the case. And Anthem to me is that exact thing. You know, whereas in Destiny, yes, you're dealing with more magnitude of these things, but I oftentimes just don't care because they're just these events. There's these events that I already know that in order to get to endgame, these events are going to sizzle out, right? But characters are something that always have sunk me in, grounded me to the world, and made me just want to be around them. I also just like people in general, being around interesting people. And this game is filled with them. Like, again, I have not played a game where I've given a shit about so many characters and felt like I didn't have to put up with the slow-paced nature of everything else. So a lot of times when you start up a game, you know, you meet someone, you introduce yourself, maybe you do them some favors, maybe they open up to you, which happens in this game, but it gets away, at least for me, from that annoying aspect of being like, all right, well, I'm just gonna have to do some of this busy work to be your friend or whatever, right? It's actually, and it feels weird a lot of times because in MMOs or like big games like this, it oftentimes feels like you have to do a shit ton just to get a tiny bit of like a look into their personality or who they are. But in this game, it dissolves all of that, and it's actually quick-paced. Like, if I go do a mission for you, which drastically helps you, because we're basically in an apocalypse, you should be like, this guy fucking has my back, or this guy's my number one. Like, you know what I mean? It should actually impact, whereas in a lot of games like this, because it's so large and, you know, fleeting, that it doesn't really feel like you impact at all. But with these characters, it definitely does feel that way, at least to me. Like, when I even with the vendors who I haven't even bought anything from, I know so much about them and I love them all to pieces. This dude right here, he's absolutely in love with the design and look of anthems, hence why he sells them. But he also has stories that define him, stories of like why he is that way, why he truly loves javelins and pilots and making these people stronger. It's because he had a run-in with a Titan when he was a young kid and seen that it called forth thunder all down from the sky. And he's seen two Titans fuse into one, or 3 or 4 Titans fuse into one. And that's what defines him. That's why he pursues his goals and why he sells to these people, why he's so fiery about what he does. And then this woman is just... this is like the testament of how good, to me, the character development is in this game. Is that this character started off to me as just hard to kind of be around. Because she's very like nasally and quirky to the point in which it's not even cute, but a little bit much at times. But the more you keep coming back to her, the more she she kind of like in her own way, because she runs a store, but she loves when you come see her, and she's able to like unload her emotional giddiness onto you. And it's just amazing, because she basically is a trader that sells. She's basically the daughter of a mafia boss, essentially, who doesn't really seem to have any interest in doing the selling of products, but more so in just the aspect of cute things that are otherwise not seen as cute. So much so that she's willing to risk her life and go through all these crazy means just to interact with some animal that's a baby and looks cute. But it's, to me, the eagerness that she has when you go up to talk to her that defines that amazing nature to her characters, that she's always so giddy to see you when she wants to explain these things. And that's something that I'm also in love with, is the way your character interacts with the world feels real. You're not some sort of template like nothingness. You actually, like, when your character speaks, he actually like tries to like interact with someone and get information out of them. That's not in a way that's trying to get information out of them so much as just wanting to experience who they are. And to me, that is just so expertly done. Like, even if the story just shits the bed, the characters in this game are selling me on the world so much. And then that's another thing. The whole anthems. I'm doing a lot of the story. I'm not going to spoil anything. I just did a mission where we interacted with an anthem, and you'll experience this, but I'm not going to spoil it. You'll interact with an anthem, and there was apparently a lady who was stuck in the anthem. This is like a side thing. Anyways, she was stuck in an anthem, and basically she said that she was a mixture of, she was aware of her past, her present, and the future. And when she came out of the anthem, she said these feelings of the future started to fade, but she hinted at the fact that you are immensely important, and you actually bring back the freelancers to become legends again, for good or worse, she says. And to me, just those subtle things and the aspects of the anthem about how they can literally change the fabrication of reality and all those things. And then, furthermore, them kind of subliminally putting down these things where it's like, just in case you weren't aware, you're gonna be this big thing. We're not gonna do this thing where you just become another freelancer, redundant nonsense. Like, you're just gonna be, it's like the whole, the problem with WoW for a little bit, like the fact that you're just like running around doing these really important missions, and then you look around for the dude who's just right next to you getting the same mission, you're like, okay, I guess I'm not that special in the grand scheme of things, whatever. But in this game, it's like, no, you are. Just like, remember, you're not the same as everyone else, and you're kicking ass. And then there's other moments where even your kind of reluctant uncle, who's that big dude with tattoos, and he's a bit chubbier, and he runs your business or whatever. He's your old combat friend. You'll meet him in the game. I'm sure you've seen him in promotional trailers. He even says that like you're one of the best javelins freelancers that he's ever seen, and things like that. Where like in games like Destiny, and even in games like Warframe, it doesn't feel that way. And to me, it kind of breaks my heart when I see people talk about Anthem and they're like, the story's okay, you know, it's a big bad guy, you're gonna go ahead and topple the big bad guy, that's it. You know, it's like, you know the story, big bad guy wants to rule the world, you're a humble little freelancer, little enemy that's gonna, you know, topple him, you're gonna build a suit, you're gonna kill him, yada yada. And I'm just like, man, I disagree immensely with that. Like, and people are like, you're gonna be here for the end game. I'm sorry, man, I haven't even gotten to the end game, but the story for me is amazing. And if you're a person that really loves character development and characters and real characters and feeling like you're connected in the world and grounded by those characters, to me, Anthem does an amazing job with that. And yeah, it kind of it broke my heart a little bit when I kept seeing people be like, "Yeah, fuck the story." It's like, well, no, man, the story is really great, I guess. And again, I don't think it's like a lot. Again, I haven't experienced a story that's like this in a while, where it actually feels like a good, thought out, like paced story. Like, yes, the overarching system, like it's like the same thing as a person dissolving any movie concept as it is. Like, oh, a horror. There's a big guy trying to run after you and kill you. Whatever, and you gotta survive, but you probably won't, and you'll die. And that's like someone dissolving horror movies into nothing. But then you have movies like It Follows, where it's like, okay, yeah, that big bad is incredibly dynamic, and it's actually this thing that ever so slowly creeps up on you, and you can never escape it. You know, it's like you could dissolve that movie into just being like, yeah, there's just some, you know, bad spirit force or whatever trying to get to you, and you know the ending is, you know, as much as you think, or as obvious as you think. And I don't know, to me it's the same way when people dissolve Anthem's story, which, don't get me wrong, I do think it's gonna probably end like, we just killed the bad guy. but it's the tiny stories and interact like in between those that feel amazing. And coming from a person who's played like a Destiny, which has like these little side missions that just genuinely feel like, I don't know, you're just another cog in the machine doing this patrol kind of like mission that anyone else could do. It feels like that. Whereas in Anthem, you actually go up to these characters and you're like, hey, what can I do for you? And they're like, actually, man, I would really like it if you could help me with this one thing. It's actually pretty urgent. And you just go off on this crazy adventure. And it's not like the mechanics behind it aren't crazy. Like it's same as you find in every other looter shooter. Go to point A, go to point B, collect something at point B, come back to point A. It's not complicated. But then again, it feels significantly better when you actually have a person that you're interacting with constantly and you feel like you're connecting with. But yeah, sorry guys, this is basically a little like update on my feelings of Anthem. But yeah, I just seen a video of a person discussing Anthem, and they kind of just glossed over the story like it was kind of just okay, and I was like, man, I'm in the other boat. I love the combat. I think the story though is I don't know. I like the story and the combat a lot, and I haven't experienced endgame stuff. And it's funny because the person who I watched the discussion video of isn't a story person either. You know what I mean? Like I haven't seen him come up with a video being like, this is why this story's amazing. So it's like, okay, well, I don't exactly think that's the same thing. Regardless, my build for my glorious Strider / Interceptor, which I'm gonna continue to call Strider, we have this badass ability called Venom Bomb, which I haven't played with everything, so I don't know, but Venom Bomb I think is like always going to be a part of my kit. Because it's kind of just like an AoE damage thing, but it recharges fast, so you always basically can go into a little baby encounter with this. And also it's a detonator or primer, and our melee is a detonator on the passive. So even if we have no detonators, we'll always have a detonator with our melee. We have to get close, but still. The other thing is a toss-up between these two skills. This is amazing. This does a lot of damage, especially when you combo it to a certain extent. And then this one is the one I'm currently using because I just got it, and it's actually pretty fun, and it recharges way faster than you think. But yes, it basically you summon a ghost, which it says it can wrap up to 3 targets. Which, I don't know, I always just see it go after the one. Then again, sometimes enemies don't spawn in, and I imagine that it doesn't know where to go off. Like, as soon as you detonate it, it will hunt the 3. But sometimes they just spawn in on top of each other, and you're like, oh, well, never mind. But anyways, as of weapons, haven't got anything too special. Just got my blue gear. Just got an assault rifle. Nothing too crazy. Yeah. I would like to try something new a little bit, though. But we also got Vengeance, which is, a shotgun that just does a lot of damage. It's just like it's the same one I had in the beta. Oh, the game crashed. The game just fucking crashed. Well, ain't that a bitch? Alright, Anthem, I was trying to compliment you, and you just shit the bed. So that's my only real criticism with the game, is mechanically it still needs a lot of work. It crashes consistently. Well, not really. It crashes like, I've been playing it for quite a bit, and it's crashed like 2 times, which is not crazy, but it still sucks when it happens. And there's bugs like if your audio sometimes just clocks out, which is unfortunate and annoying. But I mean, it's not great. I don't want to get into like too spoiler specific things. I just want to like talk about just generally story, like how interacting with characters feels. But we have this just like it's a side mission basically, which is actually really cool because the side missions feel like, at least to me, again all this is just to me, a pretty good gauge for not too much but just enough. Like where you do, again, it airs on you doing favors for people rather than you impacting the share of the world, which is kind of nice because sometimes when everything is a cataclysm and everything is gonna break, you're like, what the fuck is our plan here, dude? Like the whole world's just gonna snap. Like why are we supposed to kill ourselves? What is the patience here? But yeah, like doing jobs for Matthias, and Matthias watching your back and you talking to him and you feel like your relationship actually grows and you actually get somewhere where the person is interesting. And yeah, again, I got a little frustrated, I'll be honest, with the person's video that I watched, with person talking about Anthem and the story. It was just like a breeze by comment, but it was like, really, man? I would feel like that's a highlight. Like when it comes to Destiny, and even, I mean, people hate me for this, but Warframe a little bit. I mean, that's not a game. Warframe, I think a lot of the story is in this like lore, which to some extent is Destiny. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think that's an excuse. I don't think you should have to read for like fucking an hour to get like a vibe of the game and the world and the story. And yeah, honestly, some of the most... The game, to me, one of my favorite parts about it is the dynamic of gameplay versus story. Which is basically you're given... Every time you leave the fort, time passes. And... characters interact in that same way. So say if you're talking to someone and you're like, hey, maybe you should, you know, the blueprint you're telling me about making plants sustainable in the fort, maybe you should pursue that. And they'll be like, okay, I'll consider that. And then you'll come back to them and they'll be like, I did that and it worked out and it's great. Or they'll be like, I'm kind of running into troubles, what do you think I should do? I mean, every time you come back, they progress that kind of mini, tiny story arc within characters. And oh boy, do I love that, because yeah, man, the stories I have just from playing the game for the little bit that I have is fantastic when it comes to characters. Like, I talked to this woman who, it actually broke my heart a little bit. She lost her son. Well, you find that out later, but basically, and this is just a mini story. Like, this is like just having a conversation with some old lady in a camp. It's not like a quest, right?
I see. The scars hold their prizes up a cliff over here. If we are lucky, where we find the parts, we find the Arcanists.
Okay, we're finding parts for the arc. Got it. Anyways, what do you call? Also, I love that dude. This like old man who's like a rugged freelancer. He's awesome. But anyways, there was this old lady who was like bird watching essentially or something like that, and she mentioned her son. And you basically just keep her company. Like you just like, hey, ma'am, how's everything going? And it's just this old lady. But then the next time you see her, she starts saying that you're her son, and that the anthem, you know, gave her son back, and that's you. And you have a choice between saying I'm not your mom, which is usually to the right, and that ends the conversation, or I'm not your son, etc. But what do you call it? Why didn't that attack you? I guess it only attacks once, our little ghost. That makes sense. So yeah, you could choose to say that I'm your son, or no, I'm not your son, this is not healthy, and all these things. But to me, it broke my heart so much that I was like, okay, I'll be a son, whatever happens. Okay. And I broke, and I said yes. So then every time you come back, she starts telling you things, like, you know, why didn't you come visit me? And I'm like, fuck, shit, I'm caught in my own damn lie. I don't know what to do. Nice, someone connected all that. Lovely. But yeah, every time you come meet her, she's like, hey, why did you leave me? Or why didn't you come back? And you're like, I was going on adventures and whatnot. And she's like, oh, okay, that makes sense, and all these things. And then finally, at the end of it, you find out that, what do you call it? It's so sad. But you find out that her son wanted to be a freelancer and died when he was a kid. And the dad died as well. In a very spectacularly tragic way. And it kind of made me feel better about, like, giving her some happiness for a minute, you know what I mean? About being like, yeah, I'm your son, hi mom, kind of thing. Give her heart just some levity. And yeah, it was something, man, because I kind of hate it because I ended the conversation with being like, forgive yourself, because she asks you to forgive her because she thinks you're like reincarnated as her son. And it's just fucking a time, man. But it doesn't feel miserable, you know what I mean? It feels like you helped some person, but you're still dealing with the world and how tragic it can be, because these anthems are fucking brutal sometimes. And yeah, just the characters. But then again, to be clear, some people don't like character stuff, because some people prefer like giant monumentous events that, you know, make you feel like you're crazy important. And I like those too, but to me, I'd take characters over that any day of the week. Like, I love games like that prioritize characters, rather than like, oh, you're gonna go fight this evil monster, or like a Voss character. Now, that's a bad example because Voss is a character, but still. Oh, you're running on me. You're running on me, and you died. You just kind of fell apart. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of latency in the game still, which is, again, frustrating, but it's, you know what it is. You can't be too mad at it. Look at that. Heavy damage. Enter? What'd I enter? I didn't even know what happened. I'm not really paying attention to the story, which actually sucks. I really do like the side quests, like especially interacting with this old dude who's like just this rugged, grumpy kind of like reminds me of a Norse god a little bit, like a Norse Viking who's like, yes, freelancer. It's just like this weirdness, but I love it. But again, I love characters. Like that's the big thing with me. I would take characters over story weirdness any day. And I'm repeating myself consistently, but hey, you know, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? Having to play and do all these things.
He is no freelancer. So, Arcanists being bought and sold, huh? Yes. Very bad business.
Oh, I see. Yeah, we kind of picked this up. There was a person that we were helping out that I think is just an asshole. He's a monster. Not a good dude. Go for the shins. That's the weak point. Or at least usually it is. Where am I at? I think I might be caught in the middle of something, so this may be actually really not great for me. And we're leaving. We're leaving. We're leaving. We're leaving. We're leaving. Woo! Look at that heavy damage! I should have added my nullify before we did anything. More smoke. He's dead. Nailed it. Good shit. He's gonna explode, right? Yep.
Scar down. Finally. That's what you get for buying Arcanists. Okay. Did you get anything from the black box? Yoro? You there?
The Strider was attacked by outlaws, not Scars.
We knew that, right?
Their original freelancer, Kalish, was killed. The Arcanists were captured and then sold.
And Diggs?
He's an outlaw, using a stolen suit to masquerade as a freelancer. You come back, my friend. We will find this imposter. You hear me?
Oh, I hear you.
See, like that, like when your character talks, he's like, oh, no, no, no. Like you feel like he's in it as well, and I love that. It's so fucking awesome. And the reason why, like, you guys didn't see the whole storyline, but even like when you're doing side quests for another person, they're like basically these mini tests, where like if anything, it's a chance for him to explain the culture of the world and why, just like what freelancers are. Like I can't tell you how many times I've played missions in Destiny where I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing? Like what, like in hindsight, and I've always said this in Destiny, but we're like this husk that just murders everything in its path. But in Anthem, at least to me, it's giving you reasons why you do the things that you do, and these reasons are brought to you by the characters that have been doing it forever. Maybe they're justifications, whatever. That's yours to depict in your mind. But yeah, this whole quest that if you guys didn't see was mainly. Well, I'm trying to find a better weapon. Such something. Anyways, regardless, yeah, the quests in the game. But yeah, that whole quest that we just went on with that dude. We were helping him. He basically is a cemetery keeper for freelancers. So he writes their stories and all these things, and outlaws kept, you know, killing a lot of our people and all these things, and it all came to the conclusion of that. It kind of foreshadowed it in a quest where it was like, oh, this dude doesn't seem so legit, and then lo and behold, he's not so legit. So the storytelling again is not like, holy shit, you got double crossed, and now you didn't know, we're gonna show you a brief picture of the past, so now you know what the hell happened. It's not trying to be like that crazy of a story, but it doesn't have to be to me, you know? Maybe I'm a simpleton, but I just appreciate the ride, especially when that ride has amazing company, like characters like these. But I'm gonna shut up. Do you guys want to come with me on that last ride in the next video? Maybe. I kind of wanted to save. Well, let's go talk to someone, because that's a good example. Oh, is it okay? Is it you? Okay, it is. So this was that lady that I was telling you about who we were like, hey, ma'am, you're just kind of standing there. What's up? And she's like, just nothing, really. And you just had a nice back and forth with her. And then the next time you come back to her, she's like, you're my son. And it's like, oh, shit. What do I do? And then you can choose to be like, yes, I am, you know, what's up? And you can be like, I'm confused. Like, I don't know what's going on. And she explains to you, like, that she lost her son and that you're reincarnated. And you're kind of like, and she also explains how sad she is. Like, if you weren't here, I'd probably give up on life. And you're like, hi, Mom. You're just like, oh, shit. You have multiple options, and I chose that one. But yeah, last time I talked to her, I found out that her son basically there was a big nuclear Anthem explosion that rubble fell on her son. The father also was weak, and the son wanted to be a freelancer, and she always said that he was really brave. And her son, covered in rubble underneath a building or whatever, was screaming for her to help dad because he is brave and a hero and all these things, which I believe her because of the way she tells the story. We basically keep prying for her to tell us what happened and experience what is reality. And at the end, she's like, I hope you can forgive me for not saving you, because she ended up saving her father, pulling him away, and then another surge hit, and it crumbled even more, and her son died. She didn't get to bury him, she didn't have any closure, so the freelancer, my character, was just trying to help her push through it, remember it. Don't try to bury it, because you're not going to move on that way. And then she said, will you forgive me, because she still thinks you're the reincarnation of her son, and you say, or I said, you need to forgive yourself. And a part of me was sad about that, because I don't mind that, you know what I mean? Crazier things have happened in this world where, you could be, in a way, a reincarnation of a piece of her son. I don't know, it's crazy. Let's talk to her.
Hello again, Merelda.
Hi, freelancer. Don't worry, I know who you are.
How are you doing?
A little better each day.
Glad to hear it.
It was rough going for a bit. You were everything I'd hoped Kylo would grow up to be.
I'm flattered.
It's true. It was hard letting go.
Kyler sounded like a great kid. You'll always have memories of the good times.
There were plenty of those.
You feeling better?
A lot of crying. But mostly a lot of laughing. I looked at paintings I made of him. He was something special.
Must feel like a weight is lifted.
I won't lie. Looking at you now, part of me still wants you to be Kyler. When you walk by, well, for a moment I think it's him. The illusion's been so real.
I'm sorry. Didn't mean to cause trouble.
Oh, it's not your fault. It's made me realize I need a change of scenery. Maybe reach out to my sister in ANTHEM. Build a new life. Maybe even start painting again.
Sounds like a great idea.
I thought so. And if I don't see you, then thank you again. And goodbye.
Take care.
Man, yeah, but that's the thing, because I think you had an option there that says, you need to forgive yourself and move on as a human. But then there was an option that she was like, hey, would you forgive me? Because she still thinks you're the reincarnation of her son and all that stuff. And you could say, I forgive you, being her son and saying, sorry, no, it's okay. And a part of me wishes I would have chose that one a little bit, because she's old. You know what I mean? And she's if she wants to find some sort of solace in the fact that I may have a piece of her son's soul or something in my body, because whatever crazy world we're in, and that gives her some hope, and she can keep greeting you hi kiddo or whatever, and you just go about your business. It's okay, because our character, at least from what we hear, he's a peasant basically, a kid who grew up in the streets, no mom or parents, anything like that. And yeah. But these are the things that make the story, which is not even the story, special to me. And again, there's no quests, there's no experience. Well, there is experience, kind of. There's loyalty to certain legions or regions by talking to people. But man, this to me is the thing that makes me it's just the best palate cleanser ever. Where you just done 3 missions in a row and you're whew, kind of just getting into the flow of things. And then you go talk to someone and they pour their heart out to you, or they just throw you a choice, help me decide, and then you help them decide. And again, one of the things that I like, and it's pro fun, it's not pro storytelling, or I don't know, man, why does a good story have to mean somebody dies, or some tragedy has to happen, or some misery has to take place? You know what I mean? And oftentimes when I see storytelling nowadays, Oscar nominations for movies, TV shows, whatever, it's always that. And some do great jobs at it, Game of Thrones, they kind of ride this line of being no, this is what we are. Whereas, I don't know, man. Every time I experience a story in this, just a back and forth between another AI or NPC or whatever, it's always feels worst case scenario, you help them decide. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like you're somehow burdened by them, or you fucked them over so badly by helping them decide this wrong choice, right? Even with that one, she's clearly going to take a new step in her life, or at least that's where she's heading to. But again, we could have taken the other choice where we could have been her son. Or, again, like I was saying, be some sort of way for her to feel like that she didn't lose everything, you know, because she did. And again, normally if she was a really young person, I'd be like, okay, you know, you still have time to restart. When she's this old, we kind of like, okay, let's ride it out together. Let's do this. Whew. Maybe that's fucked up. I don't know. But again, I don't think either outcome would have been like, fuck. Like, you feel bad or miserable afterwards, which is nice. I don't want to feel like I'm just getting taxed. You know what I mean? Like, I hate when you watch a movie and you end it by just being like, oh, I feel sad, depressed, exhausted because I had to follow this crazy shit. Some people love that. I love it too, but in doses, not like a barrage. Anyways, but also just like fun, happy stuff, especially when games for me are escapism and whatnot, and these lovely experiences and exploring these worlds. It is all perfect in that sense for me. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I think I will bring you on that ride of us taking down a bastard masquerading freelancer who is an outlaw who is selling people, which is fucked. Yeah, let's do that in the next video. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, subscribe button above me, do videos to my right. I may make another video on the story and just general thoughts on Anthem when I beat the story completely and all that stuff. But as of right now, I've not experienced this level of character depth and just experiencing them this way in a long time, if ever. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. As always, subscribe button above me, 2 videos to my right. Thank you so much for supporting the channel if you do, and watching, and goodbye.